Hi, I'm Whack.
And I'm Pat, and this is another episode of the Weekly Orbit for the week ending the 19th of August, 2023. We're going to try to summarize the week's news in Rocket Pool in about 30 minutes or less. And I'm here with Whack. And Whack, you had some traveling earlier this week. How was it for
It was
you?
lovely. Yeah, I was away for the weekend, so I was on the East Coast and I saw Jasper. I met him in person for the first time, and I saw Patches as well. I met him for the third time, I guess. So that was really wonderful. Really had a great time. And other stuff that was happening in life too as well, but that was good stuff.
Yeah, we'll get to Jasper later in the show. He had maybe you jinxed him meeting up with him. So let's start with our stats for the week. We haven't seen Dr. Worm's Dune analytics page in a little bit, so I thought it'd be good to take a look at it and
Yeah.
summarize some of the stats. Anything that this week in stats that you want to talk about, Whack?
Yeah,
Anything that stands out?
we still haven't reached that 500,000 ETH number. We've kind of been hitting our head against it a bunch of times. We've gone through it a couple of times, but we've not quite managed to stay over it. At the moment, we are now getting ARBs for the mini pool deposits. So hopefully it's only a matter of time before we break through that number and keep climbing. There's a lot of demand for our ETH, and we just need like a steady supply of node operators, like keep putting out those ARBed mini pools. For each one that's going through right now, they're getting around 0.2 ETH, which is pretty nice. So hopefully, we'll keep those numbers going. And our ETH, of course, as you can see, is trading at a premium again. So it's around 0.5% to 1% premium, which you can see on the chart right in the middle up there. Except that wick, I don't know what that wick is, but like you can see just above the line. Yeah. So the fact that it's just above the line means that it's just above its fair value on the secondary market. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So that little bit of a gap there just means that we are in the premium territory, which means each time you start a validator now, you can use Rocketarb, the tool that Romana made, and others have contributed to, and make a little bit of ETH for yourself on top of that. So there's that's been incentivized, and it's looking really good.
Yeah, we talked about this, I think, in the last couple of weeks. When are some of the big whales going to start converting their 16 LEVs into 8 LEVs? And one of the, I think, variables in that equation is what's the queue like for the mainnet validators? And we're down to about 24 days now, which we were talking earlier. Like they probably want to be under 28, because so they don't lose their RPL rewards in that 28-day window.
Yeah.
So that, I mean, Whack, we've got 20. You're at 24 days, and then you're getting a premium on the ARB. You could do the Rocketarb. Yeah, if I had 1,000 mini pools waiting to convert, this would be a great time, especially with low gas.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I think with the 1,000 mini pools, you would eat through the premium pretty much, and there wouldn't be any premium left. You'd feast it all up. But the other thing you need to remember as well is you need to reduce your bond. That takes 24 hours. You need to get through the rocket pool scrub. That takes another 12 hours. You need to get through the queue, of course, and then you need to also get through the Ethereum activation, which can take up to 24 hours as well. So ideally, you want it kind of being around 24 days, just to give yourself that leeway. And then that way you won't lose any RPL, and that's only for people who are high collateral RPL stakers. If you are under 75% node operator ETH, then you're fine in terms of RPL. Like you can do that whenever you want. It's just like Marco Barco and Thomas, they're both the big whales that we're kind of watching to see what they're going to do, and they're the ones who will they'll lose some of their RPL rewards if they did it before the next snapshot. Marco Barco has already started doing it. I have no idea what his and Patricio's arrangement is, but of course Patricio's RPL and Marco's ETH. So maybe Marco's just I'm going to take the ETH and tough luck Patricio.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what's happening there. I don't know of course the dynamics of their partnership. However, if they can get the ARB is actually more than that month's RPL, because the RPL ratio is so low. You can actually get a lot of RPL out of out of the ARB if you were to convert the ETH into RPL. But I have no idea what their arrangement is. But that's going to be really interesting to see right after the award snapshot whether people are just going to like jump on that like completely. So yeah,
Yeah, when is the next reward period? Is it
it's next
August
Wednesday.
31st or
Yeah, so
so?
it's in 10 days time. Like I think, let me just check to make sure. Give me a second. I think it's in 10 days time because yeah, it's Wednesday after next. So it's early AM Eastern time on the Wednesday, and everywhere else it's somewhere it's on Wednesday or Tuesday, depending on where in the world you are. Okay, let me just check. Oh no, that doesn't work there. I need to do it random. Sorry about this. It won't take long.
No,
Yeah,
it's
so
okay.
it will be in 11 days. Yeah, on August 31st, you were right. Yeah,
August 31st.
1:35 a.m. Yeah. So once that happens, oh, you can see me if are you on random? If you scroll down, you can see. Oh no, you're on trading, I think. Yeah,
I'm trading.
I was on random. Yeah. So on random, you can if you scroll down, you can see. I just called the bot. Um, yeah, just next to Twitter. There you go. Yeah, if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, I just called the bot, so you can see there it is. Yeah, 11
Oh yeah,
days.
when?
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay,
August
there it
31st.
is, August 31st at 1:35. That's from my local time.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But yeah,
Yeah. So
that's when I
can we
expect.
then predict September is going to be pretty fun?
Yeah, right in the beginning, as September starts, well, August 31st, even, I expect that there'll be a whole bunch of people getting ready to eat that arb up. I think it's going to be really exciting.
Yeah, and our so the premium it was a little higher early in the week. Right,
Hmm.
we just right now it's at 0.6% premium, so it's down. I think it was over 1% earlier, wasn't it?
Yeah, there was a 2,500 rETH burn. The person burned their rETH and got ETH back to take that 1% profit,
Uh,
and they took away about 0.5% worth of the arb. So that's what happened there.
sure. Okay, and our next thing is let's take a look at RPL price, and it was a pretty volatile week for markets.
Yeah,
And let's see how RPL did at the beginning of the week. It
that's the
was we're
24-hour chart.
oh,
Yeah,
sorry, I had refreshed this just before we
there you
started
go. Yeah,
and didn't update it to 7 day chart. So
yeah.
let's take a look. So at the beginning of the week, we're at around 0.0148.
Hmm.
Right now, we're at about 0.015. So with all, we had this giant. Was it on Thursday? I think
Yeah,
I was away, so I didn't. I kind of turned off my all my electronics and didn't pay
yeah.
attention to anything that was going on. But we had some pretty good volatility, and it looks like RPL is actually up on the
I,
week.
yeah, against ETH, it's up. On the USDC, on the US dollar, it's down, but that's fine. Like, we
Yeah,
just watch the ETH price. It's been pretty much flat overall, except like there's been a whole lot of volatility in the middle. So it came down a lot, then it went up a lot. So it's been an interesting week. I'm really happy that RPL actually held up as well as it did, with everything else kind of like collapsing pretty much this week and then recovering. It was one of those days where there was a lot of FUD going around and people were just really scared and worried, and it turned out to
yeah.
be
What
okay.
caused just briefly? What caused the big sell off
There's a
this week?
couple of things. The main thing is there was just a lot of leverage in the market, so
Hmm.
that was the main thing really. But with there's this idea that the SpaceX sold their ETH, sorry, their BTC, and the main thing really though was that there was just leverage the market that got washed out, and there was just like the wicks that were really brutal, and like a lot of people are saying that those were like capitulation wicks, and I hope they're right, but you'll only know in hindsight, of course, if that was the case. So we'll
Yeah, I
see how
kind
it
of
goes.
so I brought up the Lido chart. One
Hmm.
of RPL's similar competitors.
Yeah,
So at the beginning of the week, there it was at the ETH price, ETH ratio for LDO was 0.00099, and it ended up at uh, it was at point nine. There it is, 0.00098. So it's actually
it's
down a
flat.
touch,
Yeah,
very very flat.
yeah.
So relatively speaking, yeah, I
Hmm.
guess with a huge sell-off like that, you expect these micro caps to show more weakness, but hey, RPL held up pretty well. Not
they've
too
already
bad.
bled they've already bled so much, right? Like recently that it's hard to get them to bleed more. Of course, it's possible that they can bleed more. I won't say never, but
Right.
right now, we had that event last week as well, where we had our own capitulation wick maybe, and then that big bounce off that. So I'm just hoping that we can hold this area and like build a good base here to move upwards. We'll see how it goes. Yeah.
Okay. So with all the volatility, sometimes that leads to some MEV, and we had a giant block for the smoothing pool.
Yeah.
146.86 ETH deposited in to the smoothing pool. As of this moment, we have a balance of 359.52 ETH with about 10 or 11 days to go. So any thoughts on that giant block and how we're doing this month on smoothing?
Yeah, thankfully the giant block wasn't related to any kind of hack or anything like that, like the last giant block. So everyone felt much better celebrating it. So it was the second biggest block ever in Rocket Pool, and especially for the smoothing pool, the second biggest block we've ever had. And it's really made this month kind of be on track for a good respectable month. As you can see, last month, of course, was gargantuan. It was the best by far. This month is on track now for being about the second best, just a bit behind the second best ever month, which was the one in May right there that you can see. It'll be touch and go whether we can beat that or kind of end up somewhere around that or June area. But I think we're on track for a really good month here. So people are starting to realize, with volatility comes smoothing pool price action, and if we are in the smoothing pool, your chance of getting a good reward is much better than playing the lottery. And
Sure.
it will happen with like Rocket Pool. We'll get those things, but there's literally 15,600 mini pools right in the smoothing pool. For you to get one of those is so low a chance. It's absolutely like astronomically low. So
Yeah.
it's much
like
better.
winning the lottery.
Yeah, exactly.
The Mega Millions.
Yeah.
You had a same chance of getting struck by lightning.
Well, pretty much.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit less likely, the lightning less likely, but it's very, very unlikely that you're going to get that block because there's just so many other people you're competing against. But
Right.
it's a really nice. It's nice that it's gone to the smoothing pool. That's really cool.
Yeah, and it's something I look forward to every month, right? To see, hey, what free little. It's a steady stream of extra ETH every month.
Yeah.
That's just nice. It's I want to say it's almost guaranteed, right? You're gonna get something. Whereas if you're just playing the lottery, probably most of the time you're not going to get anything. If you do, maybe every 3 or 4 months you get a block on average, and you get a fraction of an ETH. And
I got a proposal that I got 0.1 ETH on my block. So yeah, I'd rather I'd
better
rather
off getting in the smoothing pool.
Yeah,
Most of the time, right?
get in the smoothing pool. Absolutely.
Okay, so Valdorf here posted, there's 5 governance issues that he posted to try to get some high-level vibes, as he calls it. Let's go through these one by one quickly, just to summarize what folks should maybe tune into the forum and either comment or give their thoughts. The first one is minimum guaranteed time window with known RPL ratio for reward snapshot. He writes here, under this proposal, the experience would be the period starts, and then 26 days later, the reward snapshot RPL ratio is locked. You have 2 days to stake or unstake RPL if you wish. At 28 days, the reward snapshot is executed using the locked ratio. So what's this mean in English for regular users?
So every 27 hours, I think it is, or something along those lines, maybe 19 hours if I'm mixing up my numbers, the Rocket Pool ODAO publishes the ratio of ETH to RPL. Now, when they take that snapshot, that is then the closest one to the rewards checkpoint, which happens at a set point every month, every 4 weeks. The closest one to that is where the ratio gets locked. So if you are, then if you're above 10%, below 10%, or above or below 150%. So what happens is sometimes is that time period between knowing what the ratio lock is and the reward period ending. There might only be a handful of hours, and people might not have time to either add RPL to their stake or move their RPL around. Like if they're over collateralized, they can withdraw some RPL if they needed to. But this is really for people who are under collateralized. It gives them a little bit more time to try to get up to collateral if they can, and I think that's a really nice idea because they actually it gives people a chance to figure out if they want to add more RPL to their stake or not, which I think is a really great idea.
Yeah. So as it is right now, it's not set in stone. You kind of don't know exactly when it's going to be locked.
Well, yeah, it is. You just need to watch the Oracle DAO give their numbers, and you can see the number on Grafana as well. So, as soon as they update, for the final time before the snapshot, then that that's going to be locked in. But the amount of time could potentially be down to just a couple of hours, even if depending on how the cycles line up. It's not necessary that you get the whole chunk of time. You might get a really small amount of time. So that's definitely it's difficult for people because they don't know what it's going to be or not. So this will give them just a little bit more time to get their affairs in order, which I think is a really good idea.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, the second governance forum topic here is allow mini pool deposits while under the minimum RPL.
Yeah.
So Veldorf writes, the abstract is right now if a node operator falls below the minimum value of RPL staked, which is less than 10% of borrowed ETH, they can't add a new mini pool to that node unless they stake enough to reach the minimum and cover the new mini pool. So this proposal suggests adding the ability to do a combined mini pool deposit and RPL stake. This would allow creating a new mini pool even when under the minimum and remove the incentive to create Sybil nodes. So essentially this is like if you have say one mini pool, and say you have an LEB8, you fall below 10%, it'll allow you to stake create another mini pool. And in that scenario, if you're already below the 10% on the first LEV8, you'd have to make up for that along with putting 2.4 ETH of RPL for the second one. So this would change that up a little bit, make it easier. Is that right?
Yeah. So I haven't fully understood it myself exactly what the parameters would be, but it seems like it's just gives you the ability of doing like a combined transaction where you can do the mini pool deposit and add RPL at the same time. I'm not sure exactly what the situations are where this would be used. I really do need to spend more time in the governance stuff. But I think if you ask Valdorf, he'll be happy to explain to you how it all works.
Yeah, I think the idea here is it would make, in that scenario that I was just talking about, it would make more sense to just create a whole new node, because then you'd only have to come up with 2.4 ETH. Mm-hmm. Whereas if you already had a node and you're under collateralized, you'd have to do 2.4 for the new LEB8 plus whatever you're under on the first one. Yeah. Okay. The third one is, this is the RPL staking rework proposal. Veldorf and Nashua and a lot of people have been going through the last several weeks. We've talked about as well in the weekly orbit. Yeah. And this kind of just puts into summary in layman's terms, kind of the TLDR, how currently RPL inflation is being divvied up, and under the proposed spend, how it changes. And it looks like, if you look at the chart, for those listening, the chart is pretty well divided currently, but under the proposed changes, 56% of the RPL rewards inflation would go to incentivizing mini pools. Yeah. So what do you think?
Yeah, I think people who are at the lower end of the collateral stakes would actually be increasing their RPL rewards by 2.5x, somewhere around that percentage. Of course, people who are on the higher collateral points, they'll be losing RPL under this proposal. There's a lot of discussion, we're still in the discussion stage. If you have any ideas about this, if you think it's good, bad, if you have questions, pop into the DAO forum and you can ask them. And especially this is now a good time for people to kind of present more research, present more ideas, anything that they want to do. Now's the time to get that information before, it moves forward for a vote.
Yeah. And I was playing around with the calculator that Valdorf had on his page, and it seems like in a lot of scenarios you'd end up with more RPL rewards. What seems to be the real driver is not having 16 LEB 16s. Okay, if
Mm-hmm.
you have LEB 16s, you might end up losing rewards, but it seems like in general, if you're converted over to LEB 8s, you're going to do as well or better under this proposal. So it really kind of incentivizes, kind of pushes people to get it, convert those 16s into 8s because you'll be rewarded for it.
Also, another thing here as well is that if you spin up a new mini pool, then you could, without adding any more RPL to your stake, you could increase your RPL rewards, which is not something that happens in the current system. So that will incentivize new mini pool creation there as well.
Sure. Okay. Let's see. And the last one, this is a rewards tree spec. That Nashua, he writes, following some initial discussion on Discord, I'm proposing 2 changes to reward tree spec. First is count mini pools in the beacon chain queue like active validators for RPL reward calculation. And number 2, in case there is not a single eligible node at the time of the reward snapshot, RPL inflation meant for node operators goes to the PDAO instead. So as I understand this, we were talking about the beacon chain queue earlier, and you're in there for 24 days, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Those mini pools don't count for RPL rewards. Under this revision, you would.
Yeah.
Okay, so that would incentivize folks to not sit around like, oh, I'm going to wait on the sidelines till the time is just right. This is just say, listen, you can do it now. You could be in there for 3 months, and you're going to get rewards. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
And then that second one, that's not very likely scenario where there's not a single eligible node. So that would assume all operators are below 10%. So
Yeah.
nobody gets rewards.
Yeah.
And I think that was just thrown in there to say like, hey, if this were, this is a 1 in a billion chance, but if it does happen, this is the outcome.
Yeah. I think I'll be that one node operator who still gets rewards because I'll put some ETH worth of RPL in there if the need arises. So, yeah.
Yeah, right. Okay, and I think on the last one here, so, what's this? Yeah, the last one was
appeal for the GMC. Yeah.
Yeah, you want to talk about this one because you're on the GMC committee.
Yeah, so the GMC in rewards period 2, Rocket Split applied for a grant. They were rejected. In grant period 3, Rocket Split applied for a grant again. They were rejected again. The community felt that they should not have been rejected, and the PDAO, the community, got together and said, you know what, we're going to appeal this decision because we don't agree with it. So this was a vibe check basically for that. And if you scroll down, you can see that the vast majority of people who agreed with this being, you might have to vote to see it. Whether it's good. So look,
100%.
100%. Yeah. So this is going to go to a snapshot vote, and then the result of the snapshot vote might be that the PDAO overruled the GMC, and they'll end up getting their grant.
Okay. All right. So, on to one of our last topics here. This was a great photo of you and a great friend of the pod, Jasper. Last weekend we were talking about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Great smiles from both of you. Looks like you guys looks like this could be a coffee shop or something similar. Looks like you guys got together. And then shortly after this, Jasper is banned from Twitter or X, whatever we're calling it these days. So perhaps that was, you gave him some bad vibes and Elon Musk.
It's all my fault. Yeah.
Kicked him off.
It's all my fault.
So what happened here to Jasper?
We're not exactly sure what happened. It looked like the only thing that was correlated with him getting suspended was that he was making a list at the time and adding people quite quickly to his list. So that is supposedly bot-like behavior. So his account got flagged for that and suspended. And the thing is that this is actually a permanent suspension, which is weird that they use the word suspended. So it's permanent, like that he's locked into read-only mode. There's nothing that he can do on Twitter anymore. So his Twitter account is basically like gone, pretty much. So we kind of started a whole media campaign, like with the hashtag, free Jasper, and trying to get the word out that, we want Jasper back. So far, Jasper is not back. It seems like the whole team on the Twitter side who was there to kind of like review these things was all fired by Elon when he took over. So there's no one there anymore to review like erroneous suspensions. So the only way that you can get back onto Twitter on X now, if you got suspended like this, is by paying people in the black market to kind of like process your ticket for you on your behalf and get you reinstated. Supposedly, that's what some word was going around today. So sadly, it looks like Jasper might not be back on X anytime soon. But I'll definitely keep. We're trying to get him back, but I don't know what's going to happen with that. We had David Hoffman tweeting about it. We had Anthony Sassano tweeting about it. We had Superfist tweeting about it. We had a whole bunch of quite prominent crypto Twitter people. David Hoffman even came into trading and said that one of their bankless employees used to work at Twitter, and we'll see if there's anything that we can do to get Jasper back. So far, Jasper is not back, and he's greatly missed on Twitter. So I really hope he gets back soon.
And Schifrin here, he's put together a POAP, Free Jasper. And so he says, this is a numbered series where participants will be awarded POAPs for completing quests that strengthen Rocket Pool protocol. The first POAP will be awarded to participants that promote the reversal of Jasper suspension. So, anything you can do to get, it just seems like Twitter has just become a dumpster fire. Whack. Anytime I'm sure you've seen it too. You read the comments, and it's just inundated and saturated with just bots, and then good people like Jasper get kicked off. It's just it's kind of turned into a joke.
It is absolutely a joke, yeah. And I think people are leaving, and it might be this might be one of the things that kind of breaks the camel's back and just gets us all off there. But I'm not sure what was happening with that.
I've got an account with Farcaster.
Farcaster, yeah.
Yeah, I've been starting to post things on, there's threads as well. Twitter's got it's hard because it's a little sticky because there's so many users you follow on it. But man, I don't know what they're doing over there.
Yeah, no one does.
It's making it really difficult.
Yeah, it's definitely not fun to use. It's just not, there's a lot of shortcomings on Twitter now, and I think the bots are just running the place. And the latest thing that Elon said was he was going to remove the block feature, and everyone that you blocked is going to get unblocked. He can't really do that without getting it removed from the Apple and Google stores, so he probably won't end up doing that. But the fact that he's even thinking of doing that is just atrocious. So yeah,
I think it's one thing when you become a billionaire, folks don't, your inner circle is just yes people. They don't want to disagree with you. Typically a board of directors, you have dissenting opinions. Say, hey, well, we're thinking about doing this, and then it'll be a debate. Well, you think that's a good idea, But when you're a very powerful person, sometimes people are afraid to raise their voice, and you get silly things like this happening. So that's a topic for another time. So
absolutely. Speaking
of time, we're just about over. None of this has been financial advice. Thanks for listening, watching. Hit the like and subscribe. Whack is going to be touring through our Europe Bureau of the Weekly Orbit over the next few weeks, checking in with our European friends. So to tune into his show, you're not going to be on your daily cadence, but you're going to be trying to post a show every couple of days or so. Is that right?
Yeah, it might be that I can be daily. I'm going to try to figure it out. It just depends on how things go. I'm going to try to get work done at night when the little ones are asleep, and then try to record during the daytime. I'm not exactly sure how it's going to work yet, but I'm fairly confident that I can record at least every second day, if not every day for some of the points. But I'll try to get as many episodes as I can out over the next 3 weeks while I'm traveling. And then, in the middle of September, I'll be back to my normal, regular cadence. So,
great.
Yeah, it should be fun.
So, everyone tune into Rocket Fuel, the Weekly Orbit. We'll keep you updated weekly at least. And have happy travels, Whack. Be safe. And we'll have another show for you guys next week. Take care.
See you all. Bye.
Bye.